let me just get comfortable for this video because we have a lot to talk about. This, I need like a pillow to hug or something, like, okay. I gotta get comfortable, okay, because it's so much that I want to say. It is so much that has been pent up in me for specifically these past couple years, but really like my whole life. And it's like I'm finally ready to talk about it all. I'm finally ready to just fully live in my truth. Like, I can't just say I'm living in my truth and living some truths, you know, like I gotta live in it all, and I have to share it all. I feel called to share it all. I feel called to just share my testimony, because all of the things that I've been like running from or shamed about or scared to talk about, it's really like just a testimony. It's really to give God the glory. And I would be crazy to just not let somebody else know, like, you could be going through these things, you could, you know, make mistakes, you could fall, you could be struggling, but like God, Jesus, like, is so real and will just grab you up and save you and lift you up from it all. So I'm gonna be obedient about what I feel like I need to do. And like, I couldn't even make another video this new year, without coming and laying all of this out first. And God was very clear with me, like, you gotta lay this out. You gotta, before you can move on to anything else, you have to just lay this out. So we're gonna lay it out. Cheers, baby. 2023. I hope y'all having a great new year. I am gonna be here for a while. We're gonna be here for a while. So grab whatever you grabbing, okay? Y'all see I got my water in my wine glass because I am celebrating 40 days sober today. I didn't even realize this was my 40th day. And it's so crazy. We can get into that into another video about like fasting, but I've been fasting since December 1st, and I set out for it just to be a December fast of, you know, no smoking, no drinking. And God has just been changing some things. He like gave me a new fast, prolonged my sobriety fast, and I honestly don't even think it's gonna be a fast no more. I think it's just like my lifestyle changing. But anyway, yeah, cheers. 40 days today. I cannot believe that. 40 days. So I don't even know where to start. Like, the past 2 years of my life have been a roller coaster, to say the least. So 2 years ago, December 2020 was a very crazy time in my life. I had left my marriage. It was like the start of this crazy divorce, ugly, chaotic divorce. And it was just a pivotal time for me, just like making a decision about what I wanted for my life and just really answering my spiritual awakening. That's really the bigger picture of what it all was, because when you answer, like, God is gonna keep calling you. God keeps calling us. God keeps reaching out. But when you finally just like submit to it and answer and just like, okay, I know these things, I see these things, I'm gonna keep going in this cycle. When you say yes and you decide to walk into that awakening, oh yeah, it's about to get real. So I wasn't ready for that. I was not ready for it. Everything for me was like happy. Well, I thought, you know, I thought everything was just like, you know, this is it. Like, you know, I thought that was like the main thing that was freeing me, that was like, you know, I was awakening from, was this marriage that I was in, that I know, you know, wasn't good for me. It was abusive. I was disrespected. You know, I wasn't treated how I was supposed to be treated. So I was thinking that was just the main thing in my life that I walked away. So now everything is just about to be hoo-ha, peaches and cream. But what I didn't know was that was just a piece of like what I had to let go and what I had to realize wasn't aligned for my life, wasn't aligned with what God wanted for me. It was that amongst like so many other things. Like I said, this goes back to my childhood. Like, I feel like me leaving that marriage was definitely a catalyst for everything, but it was really just like it scratched the surface. So yeah, let's talk about the divorce, because I feel like so many of y'all saw me go through that divorce with grace. Like, everybody was just telling me how strong I was, and just like, you know, everything looked like, I know y'all saw me break down a couple times, but I feel like I didn't really show the dark side of everything. Because baby, like, I don't care how free you feel during this awakening, how magical you feel, and I don't get me wrong, I felt all of those things because I knew that this was the beginning of like a new start for me. And I'm that type of person, like, I'm real positive, you know. I'm just like, I look at the bright side of everything. So if something is ending, I'm like, I can't be too sad about it. I don't like to cry. Okay, this is, girl, I don't like to cry. But, you know, I'm gonna just be happy about what's next. I'm gonna be happy about, you know, all the things I'm walking into. I've always been that way. And so it was the same way with, you know, the whole divorce I went through. I'm just like looking forward to what's next. I'm excited to have my freedom. I'm excited to just like realize my worth and knowing that, you know, like I deserve better and all these things. But I wasn't prepared for like the heartbreak. I wasn't prepared for the grief. I wasn't prepared for the anger. I wasn't prepared for the healing, okay? And what I learned during these 2 years of my life is that healing is so ugly. Like, y'all, self-care, self-love, self-healing, like, it all looks so good on social media. You know, people make it just like this fantasy, but like real true healing is shadow work, and your shadow is the dark side of you. You're like, the shadow is the enemy, which is the inner me, you know what I'm saying? TD Jakes. But like doing real healing work is hard as hell, because you have to face things from your childhood. You have to face the ugly part of yourself. You have to face your demons, and it gets hard, it gets rough, it gets scary. And that's why I feel like I wasn't really healing these past couple years, because every time it got ugly, like, I feel like I kept seeing it, like, you know, God awakened me to all these things, and God was showing me like my future self. God was showing me healed, you know what I'm saying? And I was speaking that I was healed. I was saying I was healed, and I believed all these things. But every time it got real for me, like, okay, past is brought up, like, I gotta dig deep and search inside myself. I gotta fight these demons. I just ran. I ran from it, and I indulged. I, like, you know, had this fake happy, and we're gonna get into that. That's my whole like journey with sobriety right now, and just like really overcoming that fake false happiness and that high, and really like truly healing. But anyway, let's get back to the divorce. But that divorce, it took so much out of me, y'all. It started in December when I left the home. First of all, the night I left was traumatic. It just, I don't even think I could feel, like, I think that when I go through things, I like, in the moment, it's like I'm surviving. I'm in survival mode. I'm getting where I need to get, you know. I was mainly worried about making sure my kids were safe and okay. But like, when I look back at the stuff, it's like I be going through like PTSD, like the trauma just like really begins. Like, it just, girl. And so it wasn't until, I feel like, a whole year after I left, after that, you know, traumatic situation, with me trying to leave the home, is where I started breaking down. Because I started realizing like just how ugly things were inside of me, just how ugly my heart was. Like my heart was broken into a million pieces, and I was like probably like a whole year after I left, I was just, you know, on this high, this happy high. That false happy like really shielded my eyes from like the shambles that my heart was in. Like I didn't want to say I was heartbroken. I was like, I'm good, like I done finally left, I'm a boss, a bitch, you know. Like I was just amping myself up and really like relishing in just the freedom that I had, and just, you know, really applauding myself for leaving. And you know, so many women don't leave. And so I was just on this happy high. But you know, like I said, like a year, I feel like a year later, and really all of last year, wow, it came crumbling down. Like I just had to face so much. I think I finally, one of the things that really like finally started the healing process for me is when I started looking at stuff. So, you know, when I finally addressed like my file cabinet that had a bunch of letters, you know, from my ex-husband, when things was lovey-dovey and stuff like that, like that was a hard process for me, just throwing all of that stuff away, and just like old pictures and stuff. Like, you know, with my ex-husband, we have kids together, so it's not like I just, you know, delete all the pictures, because a lot of those pictures are with my kids, and you know, I want them to have memories, and we had good memories. Of course, I want them to have that, to understand what they life was, you know. And so, but just processing that, finally looking at it, and finally just realizing like, you know, wow, this is something heartbreaking. Like it's heartbreaking, no matter how happy I am to be free from it. It's heartbreaking. Like I love this person, and I think what was more heartbreaking for me was like looking at the relationship. Like I really loved this person, I put my all into it, I just really thought this was something God wanted me to do. Like I thought I was starting a family, I thought this was about to be for the rest of my life, like, you know. And even just looking at that relationship and looking at how I was treated and looking at the things that I accepted, my heart started just breaking, because I'm like, how did I get there? And with the divorce, my heart broke so much from, you know, the ending of that relationship, because it's like I had to grieve that whole part of my life, because I was only a baby. Like when I look back, and I thought I was so grown, like y'all, I was 20. And we started that relationship when I was probably like 18. And so we was young, 20 years old, getting married, like, and having babies, like, instantly. Like, I wasn't even married a full month before I got pregnant with my first child. And so life just moved really quick. And I feel like majority of my 20s, I was in this marriage, and this was all I knew. Like, this was my life, you know? And so for that to just be gone, like I had to grieve that. I had to grieve the relationship. Like it's not like all the times were just bad. It's not like we didn't have good times. It's not like, you know, we didn't have happy memories. So I just had to allow myself to grieve that. And I had to allow myself to grieve like my family being destroyed, you know. Not just me, but like my kids. Man, that was a big part of like the breakdown for me. It was just really like, oh my gosh, my kids just went through a lot. Like, you know, they was born into this. Like I had a little bit of a life. I was young, but you know, I had a little bit of a life without being married. Like, you know, majority of my life I wasn't married. I had my childhood, I had my, you know, teenage years and everything. But like for these babies, this is what they was born into. And so, and they had to go through a lot of traumatic stuff just as well. Like they was around all of that. And so my heart really started breaking for them, because I saw, like, you know, the changes in them, the things that they was go through. It would, you know, it would come up in their behavior and the things they said and the things they remembered. And it was just really heartbreaking for me, thinking about like how I needed to just even put my feelings to the side and make sure I was fully present and available for my kids as they went through a big traumatic change in their lives, because they was heartbroken, they was sad, you know, and still are. They still have questions, you know. They still go through stuff. Like, their lives are different, you know, and that's a lot for any kid to handle. It's a lot for, you know, me to handle as an adult. Like, you know, it's a lot for a child to handle. So now we're gonna dig into it for real, because that breakdown of me finally grieving, finally addressing my heartbreak, led me down this spiral of just my entire life. And, you know, I feel like when things like that happen, like when you go through this big awakening, and when you finally like start to just address yourself, like you, like how I was saying, how did I even get here? Like, how was I even in this marriage? How did I, like, why is life like this right now? I had to reflect on me. And I feel like too, it was really just hard for me to focus on healing, like from my divorce and everything, because the 2-year span of, okay, my divorce was final February 22nd, 2022. So yeah, it took like a whole year for my divorce to be final. And it was so hard for me to even just like begin healing, because I was still going through the stuff. Like, it was not a pretty, like, what's the word called? What's the word? Amicable. It was not an amicable divorce. It was an amicable battle, because we did have a custody battle. So I'm in the midst of like going through a custody battle. I'm in the midst of still dealing with the disrespect from my ex-husband, still dealing with like the craziness. It's just like, it was so hard to even just stay positive and try to focus on, like, you know, I'm gonna get past this, I'm gonna heal, because I was still going through it, you know. It wasn't easy. And that's why I pray for anybody going through a divorce, a breakup, a ugly split up. That's just not, like, you know, breakups are hard enough, but when you break up and then you still have like the drama going on behind it, it's like, it makes it even harder, especially when you have kids, because you just want, well, for me, I'm gonna speak for myself, I just wanted everything to be peaceful for my kids. And so y'all, I can't even go down that road of all the things that was happening, but it was a lot that it was hard for me to get out of, because I still had my heart like tied to a lot of those things. I still was allowing him to, like, you know, dictate my feelings, and, you know, he could say something to me and I'd go off, or like, you know, my whole world be crumbling down because of what's being said to me and what's being brought to me, because I just didn't have like that stability where I'm at now, where it's like, you can say whatever you want to me and it's not going to affect me. You can say whatever you want to me, but I'm not going there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm here now, and it took me so long to get here, y'all. That's why I'm so heavy on protecting my peace at this time in my life, because it took me so long to get here. And I would be preaching all of this stuff, like protect your peace and da da da, and rise up and know that you this and know that you that, and just all these boss things and everything. But I wasn't truly there in my heart. Like, it took me, it was a process. That's what I want people to know. Like, and yes, the power of life and death is in our tongues. Like, we are supposed to speak good things over our lives, but it's a process too to get there. Like, you know, that peace that you speaking over your life, it may not happen tomorrow. You got to go through a process of trying to figure out, okay, what is even causing this to have an effect on my peace? It might be something from your childhood, and that's what I figured out. That's what I found out on my journey. I'm like, all of this didn't just come from, you know, the divorce. Like, all of this, like, up into now, what I've allowed in my life, even in my past relationships, and just what I've been through in life, it has all come from a place. It all has a root. And when I say, like, that process took me on just traveling down to that root, and it's hard when you going backwards. Like, I want to be going forward, you know. I want to be getting towards my future. I want to be healed. I want to be happy. I want to be whole. But you got to go backwards first in order to figure all that stuff out. Otherwise, you're gonna keep carrying it on and on and on. The further you get, the further you away from the root. And so I had to just pause and go back to the root. So y'all, this brought up a lot of issues for me. It brought up daddy issues, it brought up mama issues, like issues I didn't even think I had, is what this journey of healing led me on. And really, I'm just so, I can look back now and say I'm so thankful for my divorce going the way it went. Like, even all the chaos, everything happens for a reason. I have that belief. Like, you cannot tell me everything don't happen for a reason, because it does. Even all the bad things that happen, everything, first of all, is working for your good. All things work for the good of those that love the Lord, and I believe that with all my heart. And it's just up to you to choose to believe that, because if you really do love the Lord, if you really believe what God says about you, and I'm thinking of the scripture, but that he has a plan to prosper you, he has a hope for your future. And if you just believe that with all your heart, then you have to know that everything you go through is for a reason. Everything, the bad stuff, it's not there to destroy you. It's only to make you better, only to make you stronger. And it's like, I had to keep telling myself all these things through this process, because, you know, it was difficult just trying to navigate where I was at, because I wanted to be at this place of healing. I wanted to be at my future. I wanted to, you know, be whole and happy and all this stuff, but having to walk my way back to them roots, like painful, really painful, brought up a lot of things. And you know what I found was a lot of my relationship choices stem from my daddy issues. Like, you know, my dad wasn't around. That's been hard on me my whole life, but it's like I went through it in a different space, you know, because now here I am, divorced. Like, it was kind of like a cycle for me to see like life through my parents' eyes, because it's so crazy, because my mom was married for 6 years to my daddy. She had 3 kids, just like me, about the same age, going through the same stuff. And so for me, it brought up a lot of like finally experiencing what my parents went through. And you know, it brought up those issues I had with my dad, of how I viewed men and how I allowed myself to be treated, because I really didn't have that example of how a man is supposed to treat you. But it also led me like down that healing path. It also led me to empathy, because now I'm going through some real life shit. So now I can see and understand why my dad went down the path he went down. And then with my mom, like, I love my mom to death. She was a single mom, like, you know, doing her thing, doing everything that she could, all that she knew. But it's like I had to go through that process to understand, like, you know, why certain things happened the way they did when I was a kid, which resulted in me, like, I carried all that stuff into my adulthood. Like, one being, like, I couldn't speak up for myself. Like, I'm still struggling with that to this day, just speaking up for myself, just saying what's on my mind. And I found that, like, the root of that was, like, issues I had with my mom that I never talked about. And so at 28 years old, I had to have the courage to face that. I had to talk to my mama, like a real talk. I had to tell her I had an issue with her. And that was so hard for me to do. It was so hard. But it's like you have to go through those processes to be able to heal. That's what healing is. You got to go through that ugly stuff. But it's like the other side of that, I can finally say and understand, like, the other side of that really is beautiful, because you really truly do heal. It's like you gotta go back. You gotta go back. So yeah, a lot of things stem from my divorce, things that I had to go through to heal, like, you know, my self-worth, my value. Because it's like when you're in a bad situation, when you're in any relationship that you're not being treated how you want to be treated, you can tell this person all day long, I want you to treat me like this, I want you to do this, I want you to stop talking to me like this, I want you. Girl, it is not up to them. They don't have it. They not capable of caring for you. At the end of the day, like, I had to learn, and this was so hard too, because I wanted to be mad. Okay, I wanted to be mad at him. I wanted to be mad at his family, because they, you know, it was a lot of things that went down. And it's like, but God showed me that it's just gonna be anger. Like, okay, you can be mad, you know what I'm saying, but it's just going to be anger. All you're gonna be doing is exuding that angry energy, and nothing is happening in return. It's just anger. You cannot put out a fire with fire. And so God finally turned the mirror back to me, and I finally realized this was a part of like me learning what forgiveness was. Because baby, what is forgiveness? What is that? Like, I said I forgave him. I said that, you know, I was offered apologies and stuff, and I was always like, you know, yeah, I forgive him, like I wish him the best, whatever. But truly inside, no, I did not. I was still angry. I was still blaming. I was still just like holding on to that anger. But it wasn't until I turned that mirror onto myself, because it's like, okay, well, how? Yeah, he treated you like that, but how did you, you know what I'm saying, allow him to treat you like that? How did you even get there in the first place? I had to look back at that, y'all. I would never forget this. Before I got married, I was asking God, because I was confused. And this is why, like, y'all, God is real. We just don't be listening, okay? Like, we get ourselves into situations. We do. Because whenever you ask the Lord of something, he will show you. And I'll never forget this. I was sitting on top of the hill where I went to high school, and I was just praying. I was like, I kind of was, my faith at that time was, it was a little rocky. I was kind of slipping away from my faith. But I remember asking God, like, you know, is this what you want me to do with my life? Like, am I supposed to move in and get married and do it? Girl, clear as day, no. When people say, like, I heard God, and I know some people be wondering, like, how do you hear God? And God, it's just so weird. God has spoken to me a lot of different ways in my life. But it was like this time in my life was one of the few times that I heard no. Like, heard a voice, no. And that was me. I was like, well, that ain't what that means. I'm gonna still do what I want to do. And so I had to look at that hard-headedness in me, because that hard-headedness kept coming up, even after, like, just me doing the action of getting divorced, or finally like coming to this awakening, like I'm not supposed to be here. That wasn't enough. I still was operating in that cycle, because that cycle was in me. And honestly, I was creating that cycle with other men, which we about to get into. But ultimately, the cycle was within me. I had to stop everything and say, how do I keep getting myself into these situations? How do I keep allowing someone to treat me the way I don't want to be treated? Where is my self-value? Because if I had enough self-worth and confidence in myself, I would be like, no. You know what I'm saying? I would have not gotten married in the first place. I would have left a long time ago if I had, you know, self-value, self-worth, and confidence. And I had to realize that was something I just didn't have. And even with my whole bad bitch era, like, I had to, it was relationships that happened after me leaving my marriage that really exposed me that I still wasn't there. I still did not have true self-value, self-worth, confidence, like spiritual. And that's what I want people to understand. Like, this confidence, I had to tell myself, though, I'm gonna be real, I had to tell myself I was a bad bitch, okay? Because if I didn't, I feel like I would have just crumbled. I don't know. I had to keep my mind, you know, like, I had to tell myself these things even though I really wasn't it. You know what they say, fake it till you make it. I feel like I had to get myself through. That was a part of my, like, survival mode, which is another piece of me I had to address. Like, get out of survival mode, live, be here, so you can heal and you can see, and so God can talk to you. So after leaving my marriage, y'all, I moved quick. Like, you know, I'm in this newfound freedom. I'm like just happy to be single, and I haven't been single since high school. And it's just like, I'm an adult now. I have my own place. Like, I can do what I want to do. And it was just a whole new, like, world of discovery, which I thought. And so I just wanted to get up under the next man, child. Like, girl, that I wanted to just, like, when you coming from a relationship that was dying, and that was just like, you knew you weren't supposed to be there, you can't wait to just try it again and, like, do it the right way, which is what I thought. I knew I wasn't doing things the right way. I just wanted to do something fun. I wanted to have some excitement in my life. And so I got into this situationship. And y'all, this situationship, like I said, it continued to reveal and expose me to myself. Because here I am, my divorce not even final yet. You know, laid up with this man that I know, like, I'm telling him, like, I hope you know, like, this ain't that. Like, I didn't allow him to have access to my heart. And, you know, I feel like we did become good friends, but I still, of course, had my wall up. Like, I'm going through this divorce, like, I'm just trying to have fun. And I made sure I let him know that, like, but it's like, you can't be operating like that and then doing all the things that come with soul ties and like your heart being twisted up and your body, you giving your body to somebody in a way that is completely exposed and not safe. And that's how I ended up pregnant. That sounds so crazy to say that out loud, because I just don't even think I said that out loud up until now. I might have wrote it down in my notes, but like out loud, I don't think I've said that since it happened. But I, of course, was not in my right frame of mind. Like, I just, looking back at that, I was so reckless. I was reckless. I didn't care. I just wanted to escape this reality that I was in, going through this divorce, like dealing with, trying to get away from any type of memory of being married and dealing with this person. And I just wanted to escape it so bad that I was just doing anything, honestly. So yeah, I got pregnant in a situationship, like literally not even 3 months after I left. And I just gotta tell the full truth. This is my truth. I was ashamed about it, but this is like, I was in a dark place, and I was just in a real dark place, y'all. And it's so crazy to look back at now, because I just see how God was with me and how he just truly saved me. But this dark place, okay, I'm pregnant. I know for a fact I don't want to have another baby. Like, I'm going through a divorce. I'm not even in a relationship with this guy. Like, I ain't trying to even be, like, you know, I didn't picture an entire future with this man. Like, this is supposed to be something fun. But now I'm getting my heart wrapped up into it a little bit. But then I'm like back, like, you know, it just was, I was very careless. I didn't know myself. I still didn't have any boundaries. I still didn't have this self-value and self-respect that I thought I had, because here I am having sex with a man that I know I'm not even giving my heart to, a man that I know I'm not going to be with for forever. I'm just doing it to have fun. But then you get pregnant. And it's so crazy. I know this happened for a reason, because I took the plan B. Like, I knew I was being reckless then, so I took a plan B, because obviously I didn't want to have a baby. But still, that didn't even work. But I feel like it happened because God was trying to slap me up and wake me up from this whatever I was in, this dark place I was in. So I decided not to go through with the pregnancy, which was one of the hardest things I ever had to do. And you know how you never say never say never, like, okay, you don't know what you would do. First of all, I said I would never do that. I said I would never get an abortion. I'm like, more power to y'all, like, who can go through with something like that. But me, I'ma just have to have the baby. Never say never, okay? Because I never thought that I would do that. I never thought I would go through with an abortion, but I did. But it's like, I couldn't. I knew I had made a mistake in the first place by, you know, having sex, unprotected sex with somebody I wasn't ready to do all that stuff with anyway. I still can't believe even going through that, I feel like I was numb. And let me tell you how I was numb. I just kept myself high. Like, I was smoking weed every day, multiple times a day. Just, and don't get me wrong, I love my Mary Jane, okay? I believe that God put these plants here for us to enjoy, or to do a spiritual, go deep, whatever. But like, not to abuse it. And you can do that with anything. People abuse coffee every day. People abuse food, and you know, but I definitely abused weed, and that was like my safety. Like, I just kept escaping. I kept escaping. So I would just keep myself high. Just be high and happy. Like, nothing bother you when you smoking weed. Like, and that's why I feel like I was so numb to a lot of this stuff. And I feel like too, that's why my healing process was so drawn out. Because had I just been focused and committed to myself after I left that marriage, like, I feel like I would have, you know, but like I said, everything happens for a reason. Those things I went through was things I had to just like, had to get beat up out of me, because I wasn't gonna see it fully unless I went through it. So anyway, I, you know, went through this abortion. I still was just like, you know, like I'm just getting high every day. I'm drinking. I'm starting to drink real heavy. I was never like a big drinker. Weed, yeah, I've been smoking for a little bit. You know, I went years without smoking weed. It's not like I was ever just like I had to have it. But, you know, I never smoked like this though. Like every day, multiple times a day, just rolling up. Like, I got to the point where I'm taking shots, just like, I was never a drinker like that. Maybe, you know, sipping on my wine and stuff, yes, but this is where I started getting into just like intoxicating myself to a point of where I was definitely abusing alcohol. I was abusing weed, and I was using it so I could mask all of this pain. Like, going through with the abortion, y'all, like, I still haven't processed a lot of that stuff, because it's real ugly when I get to thinking about it, and I look at my kids that I have here. It gets dark there, and let me tell you, Jesus is the only person, the only one who could pull me from that dark space when I get going there. And I know I got a lot more healing to do even when it comes to that, because I feel like my body even just was destroyed, because I went through a lot of complications with my abortion. Y'all saw like a little bit of it here on YouTube, and I'll dive into that in another video. But yeah, I went through complications, and I just know, like, you know, it messed my body up. It did. Like, it was traumatic. It was traumatic mentally. It was traumatic physically, spiritually. It was something I did that was just caused a lot of trauma to me. Something that I, of course, felt so bad about. Felt so much shame. I can't even believe I'm sitting here talking about it right now. This was something I was like, you know, I'm as open and honest as I am with my viewers and stuff. I never share this. Like, I would keep some things private, and this was one thing that I thought I was just never gonna publicly talk about. But I just feel led to just share my truth. Like, this is my life, you know. Like, I think I put this so far back in my mind, like, oh no, that didn't happen. And that's why I kept smoking and drinking. Like, I was just trying to zone out of that. Like, that ain't never happened. Like, you know, no, like, that ain't happen. Like, I'm not finna feel that. I'm not finna. But it did. Like, it happened. But let me tell you something. It ain't no band-aid you can put on your pain. I don't care what you did. And that's what I want to share with this situation. I don't care what you've done. I don't care what mistake you've made. It's nothing. First of all, God knows everything. God knows what we're gonna do before we even do it. But God, oh my God, oh, God is just so good to me. And that's why I gotta tell this, like, it is nothing that we can do that he won't heal, that he won't love you through, that he won't forgive. If you just go to God and say, Lord, I just forgive me. It's already done. First of all, Jesus died on the cross for our sins. It is nothing. It's nothing we can do to have him turn his back on us. We may even turn our backs on ourselves. I turned my back on myself. I didn't want nothing to do with hey, baby. You're so sweet. I didn't want to have nothing to do with myself, you know, like, I didn't even think I deserved to be forgiven, you know, like, but Jesus, like, that's why I want to just even share this testimony of my life, because it is nobody but him. And I ran away from Jesus for so long. That's a whole nother conversation for another day. But I ran away from him so long. But when the call of God is on your life, when you are chosen, you are chosen. And God has called all of us. But when you just finally answer that call, y'all, like, my life is changed. I can't even imagine the girl I was just not even that long ago. We talking about a span of 2 years where I was at the darkest, lowest place in my life, and now Jesus, nobody but him. No, I give him the glory, because just when we are going through these things in life, we have to be rescued from ourselves. That's why the journey of healing is a self journey. It's not about reconciling everything with everybody else and making sure this person know what they did to me and they got to be fully sorry for it. And we're going to talk about that too, forgiveness, because woo, it took me a long time to understand what forgiveness was. It took me a long time to forgive, even forgive myself. But this walk is not about everybody else, about everybody did me wrong and I gotta make sure they know it, and they gotta, you know, they owe me an apology or whatever. Like, this walk really is about yourself. Like, those things we fighting, them demons we fighting, they be in us. And Jesus is the only person who can rescue you from that. Like, I done tried it. I done burnt the sage. I done had the crystals. I done, you know, did the positive affirmations and just like nothing. I done smoked the weed. Like, I done meditated, zenned out. Like, nothing has done it. Nothing has been the complete just healing and restoration that I've experienced through the name of Jesus, just through the belief of Jesus. Like, I believe Jesus was a person that walked this earth, this man, this beautiful man with skin of bronze and hair of wool and eyes of fire, that he walked this earth straight from God with a divine purpose to save humanity, took everything of who we are, all our sins, all of the ugly stuff that us human beings be doing, and willingly lay his life down, was full of power. God's son was full of power, blameless, like, but came and took all of that to nail it, like, and was nailed to the cross and died and rose, died and rose, conquered death for me. Like, just that belief, it has just changed my life. And it's like, like I said, I've been through a long spiritual journey, and I'll save that for another day because it goes deep. You know, I was once this Jesus believer, like, girl thumping the Bible in everybody's face. You know, that failed because I was moving in religion. But this experience that I'm having now in my life, like, real Jesus has, like, come to me, comforted me, talked to me, like, not no church stuff. Like, it's just been, y'all, this is the only reason I'm sharing this. This is the only reason I'm sharing this, is because I just want you to understand I'm not a perfect person. I want y'all to understand that we all go through things. Like, life is heavy. We all go through pain and hurt and mistakes and failures. We all go through it for a reason. And there is a name that can completely just transform you and heal all of that. And that's what this whole testimony is about. It's just, he saved me. Like, the more I read about Jesus, the more I welcome in wisdom into my life about who Jesus was and who I am in him. Like, do y'all know God lives in us? That is, God lives in us. When I just started recognizing the power within myself, that's the only way that I was healed. It wasn't, I couldn't have done nothing else, you know? So yeah, that relationship, that situation, you know, going through with the abortion and everything is I think was like my just lowest point, and where I truly encountered Jesus, where I said, you know, nothing else is working. Like, nothing else. I can't do it on my own. Like, Lord, I need you. And from there, it's like God has just been, I went back to them ugly roots, and it's like I wasn't by myself no more. I kept being scared to go back there, you know? Like, I kept fighting that. I kept, like, every time it would come up, I'm hiding from it, I'm running, I'm dipping out. Like, I ain't dealing with this. I don't even like to cry. What? I ain't dealing with this. But it was at that lowest point in my life where Jesus, like, held my hand, picked me up, and just let me know that I wasn't even alone. Like, I didn't have to go through that alone. And so now, as I'm going back to these roots, I'm walking, you know, straight up. I'm not scared, I'm not trembling. I'm walking in confidence, knowing that I'm gonna go here, it's gonna be ugly, but I'm about to be healed. God is about to expose me to myself. God is about to expose these ugly places in my heart. God is about to expose my past and help me to understand why I keep going through these cycles. And he's about to deliver me. He has already delivered me. All I gotta do is understand that and walk in it and believe it, and just, like, what? Y'all, so I finally stood up, because I knew through that whole situationship I wasn't supposed to be doing that. I wasn't supposed to be with this person. Like, you know, I knew these things, but it's like I finally came to a point where it's like, okay, I gotta let it go. And I let it go. And why another cycle get to popping back up, girl? But this, I feel like, was more like, okay, I'm finally, like, I'm finally accepting. I'm finally not just accepting the call that God has on my life, but I'm finally, like, living in it. I'm finally ready to live in it. And now here come the distractions. And so I jumped into another situationship, because it was a situationship. Okay, I'ma just address it. Everybody wants to know what happened to Avery. I didn't want to bring that relationship to, like, I didn't want to talk about it, because, you know, he didn't sign up for this. A lot of y'all probably follow him on social media, and, you know, he's not a bad person. He is an amazing person. And so I didn't want to, like, talk about that, but it's part of my life, and I just feel like I owe it to myself, and I owe it to, you know, people who just want to know what happened. I owe it to this testimony, because it's still, even through that relationship, was a testimony of how God spoke to me. You know, just a little bit of what happened. Like, a lot of people don't even know this, but Avery was not somebody I just met. He was not somebody from Atlanta. Like, he was somebody who was very intertwined in my heart through many years, who was deeply hidden in my heart. I hid him like a buried treasure in my heart for many years. We was actually high school sweethearts. I call him my high school sweetheart because he was my high school sweetheart, and he was the sweetest love I had ever known. He treated me with nothing but respect, nothing but love, and honestly, I always honored him, because that's what helped get me up out of the marriage I was in. Because I'm like, I know it's possible. I know, even though I never had the example from my daddy where, you know, I'm being shown how to, you know, a man is showing me how I'm supposed to be treated. I had this example from a boy. We were in high school, but 10th grade, 10th grade. I had experienced this sweet, respectful, pure, wholesome love from a young man. So I know it's possible for me. You know, like I know that I can receive better because I had it before, you know? And so I always cherished that relationship. I knew it was over. We both, you know, had grown apart. We went different ways in life. He got married, I got married, you know, like we went our own ways in life, but that was a relationship that I reflected on, and it was a part of my, like, the little bit of self value I had for myself, because I'm like, I was treated, you know, he was amazing to me. And I even had to go back to that in my healing journey, because I'm like, okay, this was the one person in my life, one relationship in my life where this boy was just like perfect to me, and I like dipped out on him. Like, you know, I had to go explore that too, because why did I keep going after what wasn't good for me? And I just rejected the one person that like was perfect, you know? I mean, I know nobody's perfect, but you know, he wasn't none of that, you know? But anyway, so I had dreams about him. I just knew that he was supposed to be my husband, child. I just, you know, I finally got out of that situationship, and I like low-key started manifesting him, and like, man, manifestation without guidance. So woo, because I manifested a lot of things in my life. When you speak a thing, oh, it is so. Manifestation works, okay? I manifested a lot of things. I manifested large amounts of money into my life, and when I got that money, I didn't know what to do with it. When I got that money, I wasted it. Like, oh, you can definitely manifest whatever you want. And I feel like I definitely manifested him back into my life. We was never truly that far apart, because he is my sister, husband, best friend. So like, we was always kind of in close connections. But anyway, we reconnected. I ain't gonna go into all the detail. We reconnected in life, and I just felt like it was a dream. Like, I envisioned my whole life with this man, like whole life. He just was gonna be it for me. I'm like, I had got to the point where it's like, okay, I've been through this stuff, like, but God got me. God is finally answering my prayers of like having a fruitful, beautiful relationship and being married again, but the right way this time. Like, I just thought this was it. You couldn't tell me different. But what I didn't know, y'all see the common ground with all of this stuff, I just didn't know. This is why, like, I think life would be so much easier if we just talk about what we don't know, because everybody want to be perfect, everybody want to be right, and none of us are. Like, we don't know nothing. We haven't even explored all the galaxies. But anyway, I digress. I always think I know something, and God continues to show me that I don't know a damn thing, and I'm so grateful to be humbled. But pretty much, to sum it up, I had a plan. God laughed at my plan, like he always be doing. And you know, unfortunately, I'm not gonna say unfortunately, because everything happens for a reason. If it wasn't supposed to be, it was supposed to be. But you know, we just didn't work out in that way. It was a lot of things that kept coming up for me. I was going back in a cycle, even though I thought I was healed, even though, you know, I went through this, you know, I went through this whole fake healing thing again, because I was still self-medicating. I was still just like telling myself that I was okay, but I really wasn't. I still hadn't truly dealt with all these things. But I feel like that relationship with Avery came at a time where God was trying to finally get me there. But then I feel like that relationship was used as like a distraction for me, because I finally thought I had all the things that I needed and all the things I wanted, and now I could just like enjoy it. But you know, it wasn't until I looked at myself and I started realizing, like, you know, I'm still accepting things that are not okay with me. I'm still not speaking up for myself. You know, like, it was some things that just kept coming back up, like, and it was like, okay, it's me. You know, I'm still not healed. I'm still not ready for this. Like, this is not aligned with where I'm going, because I'm not healed. I'm not there. Like, my heart is still reserved. My heart still got holes in it. Like, my heart is still broken. My heart is still not whole. You know, like, I'm not even in a position to be nobody's girlfriend. And so I just ended that. I'm still not happy with how I ended that relationship. Honestly, y'all, I'm talking to y'all about these 2 years. This is a continuation, because I'm still living. I'm still learning. You know, I'm still like, I still have unresolved relationships that I have to go back and resolve. Like, not for the sake of like getting back with nobody, but just to like heal that part that's within me. And so, you know, I ended things with him. We spent like the whole summer together, and I ended things with him like this. And I hate that, because it's like, how do I do that? Like, how do I just, it's something in my heart though. And even though it was some things that happened that was like, it just let me know he wasn't like the one for me. It's like, I could have just said that, you know. But goes back into another issue where I'm dealing with not speaking up for myself, not seeing my true value, not really truly having the confidence to say, like, even like through that relationship, even though he was wonderful to me, like, it was still some things within me that I wasn't okay with, that I just failed to speak about, where in me it ended up being like this abrupt ending, because I was already preparing myself for it, you know. And so, you know, that's still some unresolved conversation there. But overall, that's what happened. That's what happened with me and Avery. Everybody thought we was so cute, and we was, and everything. We really did love each other. Dang, I wasn't even supposed to tell y'all that, but like, yeah, I loved him. I had loved him as a kid, like, you know. But like I said, you can think things is supposed to be a certain way. Like I said, I had dreams that came true about me and him, and so that's what made me think that things were, you know, just aligned with what God had for me, but it just wasn't the time. And I think that situation really taught me full submission to God, because it's like, okay, God, I thank you for all these things you're doing, and I thank you for awakening me. I thank you for healing me and taking me through this with you and all of this woo-de-woo. But like, I was still doing things in my own strength, you know. I was still doing things in my own mind. Like, our minds will lie to us. Our minds will lie to us. You have to seek a higher power. And I think what God was teaching me was to seek him. Seek him first. Seek the kingdom of God first, and all these things will be added into you. I was still seeking the things that I wanted. I was still trying to seek how this dream was gonna come true, that I done had this amazing dream, this happily ever after dream. I was focused on that. But it's like, all these things happen for God really just to draw me close. I think that's the whole point of like the stuff I've been through these past 2 years, is God was really just trying to call me back fully, 100%, because I wasn't all the way there. I was in and out. I was like, you know, I'm seeing it, but like let me keep it comfortable, you know, like I just wasn't all the way there. I was there, I was like there, but I'm like, I'm still gonna smoke and do my thing so I can be happy when it gets to that point of things getting ugly for me. And God just exposed me, like, throughout this whole thing. Like, yeah, people can do you wrong, people can do you dirty, you can go through some hard stuff, but through this whole thing I just learned a lot about myself. A lot of me was exposed, and that's what I didn't know. That I didn't know none of that. I didn't know December 2020, when I left my marriage, that things would conspire like this. I didn't know that it was gonna be a journey of self like this. Like, I knew I was going on a journey of like knowing myself and loving myself and all these things, but I didn't know it was gonna be like this. Cause whew, oh my gosh, it's like I finally feel the awakening, you know? Like, God allowed me to see it. God allowed me to understand that I was being called again. But it's like now I can truly just like live in it, live in this awakening, because I have fully just thrown my hands up and allow God to take over. Like, allow God to heal me. Like, I realized that my healing couldn't come from these things on earth. Everything on this earth fades away. Like, I had to realize that my healing had to come from a higher power, the higher power. Like, nothing else would have done it. Nothing else. Not even myself. I was troubled. I was going through things in my spirit. I was, you know, weak in areas. How could I say and, you know, just heal myself when I wasn't even healed? I had to just really seek the fullness of God that is within us. We all have a higher, when you think about like who is God, what is God, how can I go on this journey of healing? Your higher self. God made us in his image. Like, we literally have Jesus, all those things that he was and is. And I'm trying to think of that word because I just read about it, but all the power that Jesus had is literally, we have access to that. And so I just had to get in touch with that, and now I feel like I'm going on a whole new journey. I'm not gonna have another testimony. I know I'm gonna keep having testimonies about stuff, but I know for sure that I'm not about to have another testimony of like this stuff, you know, because I went through that. It was all to just beat it out of me. Because all of this stuff really that I've been dealing with these past couple years has been me, AF. Like, has been 12-year-old me, has been 15-year-old me, 16-year-old me, 18-year-old me. It's been me. It's just been on a different level. It's been on a different understanding. But now it's like, I just am so thankful that God finally, first of all, gave up and stopped trying to do everything on my own. But that God finally revealed it. I just finally accepted it. I can't even say God finally did it. God just be waiting there for us, honestly. Waiting for us to answer the call, to seek the call, to walk the call. And that's where I'm at now. And so I've been on this fasting journey, y'all. I can't wait to share whatever God would have me to share, because I have been seeing clearer than I ever have in my whole life, just being of sober mind. And that's why God was really calling me to, God kept calling me to do this fast. And I would say, like, I'm doing a fast, I'll hang on for about a week, and then I'm back to whatever I'm doing. But God kept calling me to do a 30-day fast, just 30 days. Couldn't commit. I tried all last year to do a 30-day fast, and I couldn't hang. I'd either be going home to where weed is legal and I know I'm about to be smoking with my people, or I'm going to a birthday party, so I know we're gonna be turning up. I didn't have any like self-discipline to where I'm like, well, no, I'm gonna stick to the fast. I'm like, no, I'm gonna do this first, and then I'm gonna do the fast when it's convenient for me. So, you know, I finally gave that up and did my fast December 1st. And I thought it was just gonna be for 30 days, but God has been just telling me to continue, and I'm just gonna go where God is. I've never even been able to hear God like this, because I was so full of like this self-pleasure, this self-happy. I want to share more about my fast and my experience with fasting in another video, because it goes deep. It goes super deep. But I will say that God is just so funny. Like, God is just a complete full circle God, because December 2020 is where everything went down. The awakening happened. I arose to the challenge. And December 2022 is when I stopped playing around, and I finally laid it all down. I went on my fast. I stopped the band-aids. During that December fast, that's where God was really able to step in and like speak to me clearly, where I wasn't distracted by no man. I wasn't distracted by, I wasn't high. I wasn't, I didn't have this false joy, false happiness. I was completely stripped of everything. That's how I felt. Like, that vlog, if you watched my last vlog where I went to Florida and just laid it all at the feet of God, it's like God was just trying to get me to this place, because I kept getting here. I kept getting low, and then, oh my gosh, these extreme highs and extreme lows, baby. I kept getting to these lows, and so that's when I would go get high because I didn't want to feel these lows. But it was in that place of just emptiness where I was just completely emptied out. I was detoxing. I was like going through all these emotions that I kept hiding and running away from. I kept masking. I kept putting a band-aid on. It was finally at this place, December 2022, the end of the year. And then a whole 2 years later, everything just like made sense, and felt complete. Like, I know this is not the end of my story. I know I have so much more. Like, God has humbled me in such a way where I'm like, I used to go through things like, and be like, oh yeah, like I'm good now. Like how I've been doing these past 2 years. And then it'll just keep coming up, keep coming up. I just feel like God has taken me through such a process of where I finally understand what a process is. Because I don't like processes. I'm very quick. Like, y'all see, I move quick. Like, one relationship don't work, I'm on to the next. Like, I move quick. I move, even showed me with this, like, the large amount of money I manifested in my life, how quickly I moved with that. And how everything just, I want these quick answers, quick solutions. I want these band-aids. I want this, like, But God truly humbled me through these 2 years and showed me what a process is. And baby, this has been a process. And like I said, it still is. I still got some loose ends that need to be tied up. But it's like, I'm just so thankful that I'm at a place where I can see them now. I can see them clearly. And if I just continue on in another cycle, I'll be a damn fool, because I would know, like, God's wisdom is nothing like our own. Like, I be thinking I know stuff, and then God will sit me down and give me like divine wisdom about something, and it's like, okay, I'm a child, like, yeah, like. And so he has just given me this divine wisdom about my life, and I just think that comes with answering the call. You will receive it. It comes with receiving it. You have to receive it. You have to like let go of what you know, and that's always hard. Trust me, I know. It's been a process of me letting go. That's what this process has been. Just letting go. Letting go of my own dreams, letting go of my own desires, letting go of what I thought I knew, letting go of my simple thinking, letting go of my lower self, letting go of relationships that didn't serve me, letting go of friendships that didn't serve me. Like, a process, okay? A process of letting go. Oh my gosh. And that's literally the book I started reading when I kept trying to do this 30-day fast. I had a book, Janae Price. I'm gonna put it down below because that's really what got me into the mindset of like fasting. But it was a devotional. It was a 40-day fast though. And I kept telling myself I was gonna do it. I kept sticking to it for like a week, and then that's the fast I kept trying to do, but then I fall off. But baby, that is all coming back to me now. And it's just so crazy that today I didn't even know I was gonna film this video, because I was like, I don't know when I'm gonna film this video. I'm gonna film it whenever I feel like I'm supposed to. And today I don't know, I ain't have nothing else to do. I was like, you know, it's a nice sunny day, I'm gonna film it today. And then I look at the date and it's literally 40 days 40 days of my fast, and I didn't even plan on doing 40 days. It's just amazing how God works. Like, that's all I want to do, is let y'all know the truth about my life. The truth will set you free, and that is what this means. I'm free. Like, even from the time I started this video to now, I feel like I can breathe, because wow, you know, like, I'm free from this shame, I'm free from this guilt, I'm free from like the accusations, and I'm free from, like, I'm just free. And the truth will literally set you free. So it's always good to start there on any journey, any process. Just being honest with yourself, being honest with your heartbreak, being honest with your pain, and just facing that. And that is like how you truly begin to heal. I think that I had it backwards though, because like, I'm big on letting go of stuff. I'm big on just like moving on quickly, but you got to start with like actually holding on to it. You got to start with, you know, facing it and living in it and just allowing it to be. And then once you allow it to be, once you let yourself feel all these things, that is when you can begin to process it, and that's when you can start to let go, you know. And so wow, I'm in awe, you know. Like, I just look at these 2 years of my life, how different I am. I'm even different from just last year. Like, just not even a few months ago. The fast that I'm doing, I honestly feel like this fast that I went on just beginning in December changed my life. It changed my life because I kept seeing all these things. I kept trying to get to this place of healing, but I could never obtain it. I could never just like keep it. It would always, I just feel like, fall through my fingers because I really hadn't gone through the process. And the process is just allowing yourself to be, allowing yourself to feel, allowing yourself to forgive. I want to talk about that as we wrap up this video, this 2-year process of healing, of chaos, of ugliness, of tears, laughter. It's been a lot, okay? But I think what really finalized a lot of emotion for me was forgiveness. And I finally understand why they say forgiveness is for you, because people can say that all day long and you really just don't get it until you really do it. Because like I said, I thought I've been forgave. Apologies was given to me and I was like, okay, you know, like, I just want peace, I forgive you. But then something else will happen, and then I'm like, you know, back at this place, cussing and fussing and running amok and mad. And I'm, you know, in my house talking about it every day. I'm just spewing out negative energy and cursing. And I'm not talking about cuss words. I'm talking about cursing. Like, I hope everything crumble for you, nigga. Like, I mean, that's not forgiveness. When you say you forgive somebody, you decide, like, this person don't have to change. This person can, you know, don't have to give me an apology. Woo! I finally understand what that means. Forgiveness is grace. Like, but it wasn't until I allowed God to show me that grace that he had for me that I could show that to others. And that's when I could truly forgive. And I could even give myself grace. I didn't know how to forgive myself. Like I told y'all, that abortion tore me up. Like, I could have crumbled bad. Because because I just was so mad at myself. I was just living in unforgiveness, and it caused a lot of bitterness, a lot of hate, a lot of anger. But y'all, when I finally decided to live in, when I finally truly decided I wanted to live in peace and I wanted to live in grace, and when I realized that it was all within me, that's when I was able to truly forgive. Just to forgive and wish them well, and not even like, oh, you know, God bless you. Y'all know what we mean when we God bless you. No, like, I really pray for you. I really pray that you experience this love that God has allowed me to experience. God's love. God is love. Like, I just pray that you experience the fullness of God's love, of God's peace, of God's joy, because I feel like we all need to experience this in this crazy world. We go through some in this world, okay? We go through some hard, heavy stuff, and we all need the love of God to like pull us through. And so that forgiveness for me was like, I really want that for this person, and I really want that for myself. So I have to let go of that anger. Why? Like, people gonna be doing you wrong till the day you die. But if you choose to live there with them in that wrongdoing, in that blame, in that hate, in that guilt, it will eat you up. And it ain't gonna, the other person move on. They living their life. But it will just be inside of you, in your heart. I noticed that I had realized how bitter my heart was. I didn't even know that. I didn't know I was dealing with bitterness. I was like, no, I'm, you know, my heart is pure. I'm good. Like, but I had a lot of bitterness. And it was all rooted in unforgiveness. But I finally let it go. And that's how I'm finally here. And here is just like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just, it's pure. It's very pure. It's just, ain't nothing perfect, you know, like life is life. But it's such a peace that surpasses all understanding. It's just a stillness. I don't feel like I need to be doing anything. Like, I just was like that for the last 2 years. Like, I gotta do something to be healed. I gotta be doing this. I gotta be doing that. I gotta create this. I don't feel like I just sit here. Like, my calendar, I've been reflecting on my planner. My calendar for the past 2 years was filled with stuff. It was designed to keep me busy. But my calendar for January, y'all, is so open. Like, I just want this time to be open so I can sit and talk to God. So I can, you know, so God can speak to me on what I need to be doing. Because right now, that's been the message for my life. Just stillness. Like, God has just been keeping me still. And there's been so much beauty in this. Like, I was so scared to be still. Like, what? Do nothing? Like, how do I do that? Like, I'm a busybody. But I realized I was keeping myself busy to, you know, run away from stuff. But in this stillness, I can't even explain it, y'all. It's just beautiful here. It's so beautiful here. And I just encourage everybody who's watching to find that, and to find it within you. Like, you have to dig deep. Healing is not pretty, so don't expect it to be just this overnight magical pill that you take and the next morning you is healed and glowing. And healing is ugly. It's a walk. It's a process. It took me 2 years to heal some things, and like I said, I'm still on a journey of healing some of those things. I'm gonna be on a journey for the rest of my life, you know. But it's a process. But the process is so worth it. It's so worth it to get here. It is so worth it. Like, I know I'm forgiven. I know I'm healed. I know that God is real. I know that Jesus already died for this. I know that I'm already cared for. Jesus is just so amazing, y'all. I get just tripped up on my words talking about. I could go on and on, because I just really want whoever is watching this video, whoever this reaches, to to know that Jesus loves you. Jesus loves you. He walked this earth and died on the cross, was beaten, tested, tormented, all of that for us, to show us so we could finally understand what love is. God sent his one and only son to die for us so we could finally understand what true love is, what salvation is, what deliverance is, because we can be delivered from anything. It don't matter what it is. I don't care. I don't care what it is. You are already free from it. So I just encourage you to go ahead and answer that call and walk into it. It's hard. It is hard, but he will never leave you nor forsake you. You are not in it by yourself. You are not alone. You may be by yourself. You may look around you. Your friends might be falling off. Your relationships crumbling. And God really got you standing there like, damn, what happened to everybody? But like, he is there. He is there to walk with you, to guide you, to heal you, to comfort you, to give you peace even through your storm. And that's how I can truly say, like, even though I've been through all this crazy stuff, it's been nobody but God. Cause I don't know how I didn't lose my mind. Like, I don't know how I didn't. You know, I didn't share with y'all like that the surface, but it's still so much more that I could tell y'all about what I've been through this past couple years that would have you like, girl, how is you still even here? Like, you know, here. Like, nobody but God carrying me through, even when I didn't see it, even when I thought I was okay. God truly carried me through everything, and I just give him the glory, the honor, the praise. And yeah, I'm just happy finally saying them words. Yeah, I think that's about it. I know it was a lot. But I had to get that off my chest before I could do anything else. I had to give God the glory, okay? Because these past couple years I couldn't have done it. I couldn't have without him. And so I just thank y'all for watching. I'm praying for y'all. I'm sending you so much love, sending you so much light. No matter what you're going through, you'll be okay. You will. It may not look like it, but you will be okay. And I just hope you stick by that. And yeah, I'll catch y'all in the next video.